Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it and I promise to update daily. If you like this watch, you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak 15400OR. This is the 18-karat rose gold black galvanized dial variant of the automatic Royal Oak. Frankly, most of us will own. You won't wear a jumbo every day, at least most folks won't, but the 15400, 41 millimeters, and the standard automatic Royal Oak since 2012 offers a large, impressive, and far slimmer platform than the comparably sized Royal Oak Offshore 42. And that is the way to think of this watch, as a slimmer, more elegant offshore. It's so much larger on the wrist than the prior 39 and 37 millimeter automatics. You really need to think of it in terms of its span across the wrist. Yes, it's 41 millimeters in diameter. And yes, it's a nice slim 9.9 millimeters thick, but lug to lug, the actual case dimension starts at 51.6. And if you include these solid intermediate plots, these two mini links on both sides, they flare out. So the actual span across the wrist is a Panerai Luminor like 53.9 millimeters across the wrist. Once again, you need to think of it as a thin offshore. It's very different from the prior 39s. It's also very substantial. Again, unlike the Jumbo, the standard Royal Oak automatic has a much more substantial bracelet that would feel at home on the offshore. Now we'll get close to this one and keep the finish in mind, because though it is more physically massive and solid, it is finished to the same degree of artisanal virtuosity you would get on a Jumbo. You can see that hairline bevel perfectly aligned across the shoulders of the links. You can see the gorgeous satin finish running down their tops, and the attention to detail as the intermediate links feature an inner facing, each with high polish. That's how thoughtfully rendered this watch is. Faces of the links and mini links are so well polished that you almost cry thinking that you can only ever see a fraction of them. Ergonomically superb. You can see the channels between the links on the underside. As tight as they are on the top, there are broad channels to avoid pinching skin, pulling hair, or trapping wrist heat on the bottom. Removable links fixed in place by screws, and you'll note a double folding clasp that is quite solid. Once again, it's the offshore that comes to mind. The strength of this one would feel at home on the more rugged full-size sports watches. You also note it's nicely finished on the inside with differential finish on a component you'll rarely see or scrutinize. The twin triggers ensuring this one keeps resolutely closed until you want it to open. Jumping back to the case, Gerald Gent designed the original Royal Oak back in 1972 more as an article of male jewelry than a watch. He prided himself in being the world's best jewelry designer. He rarely talked about or wore watches. The timepiece featuring an integration of bracelet, lug, and case that looks as good today as it did then, again scaled up for modern wrists. This one's a 41, but you can see that the proportioning of bezel, case, and lugs evokes the original, even if the outright dimensions have grown. Polished outside and rounded flanked the octagonal bezel. You'll note how it becomes flat satin grained across its top with the inset hexagonal white gold bezel bolts, offering a nice contrast in both finish and metal. The dial galvanized black. After the blue, the black is the scarcest dial. You'll note applied rose gold indices as well as rose gold hands and Audemars Piguet marquee. There will be a lume shot. This is a fully loomed sports watch. The watch features a monotone date disc, and this is something that sets it apart from the prior 39mm 15300. That watch always featured a silver white disc, which could create some conflicts on the darker dials. This one is much more nicely integrated. Screw down crown. That's one of the big differences between the 15202 Jumbo and the 15400. This one has the same 50-meter water resistance rating, but this is a 50 meters you can believe, and which Audemars Piguet rates as sufficient for swimming because of the screw down structure of the crown. It also offers a little bit more resistance against bump and abrasion. Turning this one over, yet another difference between the Jumbo and the 15400 is that the 15400 shares the base caliber from the offshore. In the offshore it's the 3126 and it carries a chronograph module. Here it's the 3120. We're going to get close to this one, close, personal, and in focus. Now you can see it's beautifully made. It's not quite finished to the level of the 2121 in the jumbo, but it is nicely executed. I would compare it favorably with what you see in FP Journe, so high praise indeed. Automatic winding, 60-hour power reserve. It's a bidirectional winder because AP didn't want the unidirectional wobble that you get with the 7750 and related calibers, but you do have ceramic rotor bearings at center to recoup some of the lost efficiency from ditching the unidirectional system. You'll note that the coats of arms of the Audemars and Piguet families blazon on the rotor, as AP is the oldest and largest continuously family-owned watch brand in Switzerland. It is the only one still in the hands of the original founding family. Full balance bridge with a free-sprung Gyromax style balance. That's for shock resistance. You will note that the balance is very large, so though it beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, rather than a high rate, it uses a large polar moment or a great deal of inertia to overcome the effects of vibrations, bumps, and reversals of direction on the wrist. The 60-hour power reserve, automatically wound or manually wound as you prefer, the crown also serving to activate stop seconds and the quick set date function. 40 joules and quite tough. It is a true sports watch movement, not made to be ultra thin or ultra fine, but made to be robust and rugged, and it's certainly tougher than most would consider necessary for a rose gold versatile watch such as this. Nevertheless, know that inside your 15400 lies the heart of an offshore. A high horology movement and a high horology watch. See them both and put them on your wrist on the watch box. Audemars Piguet Royal Oak 15400 OR, rose gold by day, bright and green by night. See it on the watch box.